Have you ever sat in a doctor's office holding a piece of paper with your lab results and felt that cold feeling in your chest? That quiet dread while you wait for the doctor to explain what a number means, hoping it isn't as serious as it looks? If you have been through that moment, you know exactly what I'm describing. And if the number that worried you had a name that sounds heavy, creatinine, then this video is for you. Because today I want to tell you something that perhaps no doctor has explained to you with the clarity you deserved. Something I have learned over decades of caring for patients with compromised kidneys, watching people walk into my office with fear and leave with something that looked like hope. And what I want to share with you today is not sitting on a pharmacy shelf. It doesn't have a complicated name. It doesn't cost a fortune. It is in the produce section of your grocery store. I'm Dr. Nova Blake, and I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years. Over the course of my career, I've cared for hundreds of patients who came to me with elevated creatinine, frightened, not understanding what was happening inside their own bodies. What hurts me most as a physician is when a patient says, "Doctor, I didn't know. Nobody explained this to me before I got here." That is exactly why I'm here today. In the next few minutes, you are going to understand what creatinine actually is, why it rises, what signals the body sends before it asks for help, and most importantly, which vegetable I recommend to every single one of my kidney patients to help protect their kidneys and support control of this substance. Stay with me until the end, because what follows could genuinely change the direction of your health. Before I reveal the vegetable, I need you to understand what creatinine really is. Because most people who come to my office with an abnormal result don't fully understand what that number represents. And without understanding it, it's impossible to take the right action. Imagine your body as a city that never stops running, a living, pulsing metropolis with thousands of workers active every second. Your muscles are those workers. They move, they contract, they hold your weight, they let you walk, climb stairs, embrace the people you love. And like any workplace, all that activity generates waste. Creatinine is one of those waste products. It is nothing more than a natural byproduct of your muscle metabolism. Every human being produces creatinine, without exception, every second of every day. Now, this city that is your body has a world-class sanitation system. 2 extraordinary filters that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without ever stopping. Those are your kidneys. 2 organs the size of a fist, tucked in your back, that filter approximately 180 litres of blood every single day. As if they processed a small swimming pool daily, capturing all the metabolic waste, including creatinine, and sending it out of the body through the urine. So when your doctor orders a creatinine blood test, they are inspecting this sanitation system. They are checking whether the filters are working efficiently. If the number is within the expected range, that's good. The filters are doing their job. But if creatinine is elevated, that is a signal. It is not the creatinine itself that causes the damage. It is the messenger. What it says is, pay attention. The filters are having difficulty doing their job. The waste is accumulating. And why does that matter? Because along with creatinine, other toxins accumulate that the body cannot eliminate. Toxins that cause fatigue that no amount of sleep will fix. Swelling in the ankles and feet, especially by the end of the day. Morning nausea, loss of appetite, and sometimes foamy urine, which can indicate protein loss. Your body is trying to shout what the lab results are already whispering. According to the National Kidney Foundation, approximately 37 million Americans are living with chronic kidney disease. and the vast majority do not know it. The disease progresses without clear symptoms for years and makes itself known only when the damage is already significant. And here is what gives me the most hope after decades of caring for kidney patients. Chronic kidney disease advances in stages, and in the early stages, it is silent. The kidneys can lose up to half their function without you feeling anything at all. This is why routine testing is so critically important. And when creatinine begins to rise, when we reach stage 3, which runs from moderate to more advanced, there is still an enormous window of opportunity. A window to slow the progression, protect the function that still exists, and improve quality of life in ways that most people never imagine are possible. It is precisely in that window that nutrition becomes one of the most powerful tools we have. But before I tell you which vegetable, I need to warn you about something serious. Because if you have searched online for how to lower creatinine, you have almost certainly encountered an avalanche of promises. Miracle herbal teas that cleanse your kidneys in 24 hours. Detox capsules that promise to regenerate your filters overnight. Exotic supplements with complicated names and outrageous prices. And I understand that when you are frightened, those promises can look like a lifeline. But as a physician, my obligation is to be completely honest with you, even when that honesty is not what you want to hear. The vast majority of those promises not only don't work, they can be actively dangerous to your kidneys. Some completely natural herbs contain compounds that are nephrotoxic, meaning literally toxic to the kidneys. Natural does not mean safe. I have treated patients who arrived with acute kidney injury caused by supplements purchased online without medical guidance. Their situation got worse, not better. The concept of cleansing the kidneys is a marketing myth created to sell products. Your kidneys are the body's cleaning system. They do not need to be cleaned. They need to be supported, protected, and nourished in the right way. And the real solution, the one backed by science, is far simpler, far less expensive, and within reach of anyone. It starts on your plate. When we talk about nutrition for people with compromised kidneys, we face a specific challenge. Because many foods that are wonderful for most people require careful consideration for someone with reduced kidney function. A banana, for example, is a remarkable fruit. But for a patient with advanced chronic kidney disease, the high potassium in a banana can be dangerous. Kidneys that are not functioning well cannot eliminate potassium adequately, and the accumulation of that mineral in the blood, which we call hyperkalemia, can cause serious, potentially fatal cardiac arrhythmias. So when we look for a food that is genuinely protective for the kidneys, it needs to meet specific criteria. Low in potassium, low in phosphorus, low in sodium, but at the same time rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that help combat the oxidative stress and chronic inflammation that are the silent engines of kidney destruction. And there is one vegetable that fits that profile almost perfectly. A vegetable that the leading nephrology centers in the world already include in their dietary recommendations for kidney patients. A vegetable that DaVita, one of the largest kidney care networks in the United States, specifically highlights as one of the safest and most beneficial foods for people with chronic kidney disease. That vegetable is the red bell pepper. I know. Maybe you were expecting something more exotic, a root from the Amazon, a leaf from some remote mountain with a scientific name impossible to pronounce. But science in most cases points to the simple, the accessible, the thing that is sitting in the produce section of your neighborhood grocery store every single week. Let me explain why red bell pepper is so special for the kidneys. There are 5 reasons, and each one matters. The first reason is what I call the remarkably low potassium load, and this is where the major advantage lies. Half a cup of red bell pepper contains only 88 milligrams of potassium. For comparison, half a cup of cooked tomato has over 200 milligrams. A medium potato can have over 700 milligrams. A banana has around 420 milligrams. That difference for a kidney patient is enormous. It is like the difference between carrying a light backpack and carrying a bag of cement on the backs of your kidneys. And red bell pepper has virtually 0 milligrams of sodium per serving. 0. For kidneys already struggling with hypertension and fluid retention, that is genuinely meaningful. The second reason is that red bell pepper is a vitamin C powerhouse. When I say powerhouse, I'm not exaggerating. A single serving of red bell pepper can provide over 150% of the daily recommended intake of vitamin C. More than an orange, more than a lemon, more than almost any other food you could put on your plate. And this matters enormously for the kidneys. Because chronic kidney disease is a state of constant inflammation and oxidative stress. Imagine that inside the cells of your kidneys there are sparks, what scientists call free radicals, causing microdamage continuously. Vitamin C is one of the most effective firefighters that exists, neutralizing those sparks and protecting kidney tissue from progressive damage. The third reason is in that intense, vibrant red color you see when you hold a ripe bell pepper. That color is not decoration. It comes from compounds called carotenoids, primarily capsanthin and beta-carotene, which are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. And chronic inflammation is exactly what wears down the kidneys day after day, year after year, silently. A study published in the scientific journal Nutrients in 2019 found an association between higher dietary carotenoid intake and a slower rate of kidney function decline in patients with chronic kidney disease. In other words, eating foods rich in these compounds may help slow the clock of kidney damage. The fourth reason is the richness in vitamin B6 and vitamin A. Vitamin A is fundamental for maintaining the integrity of the tissues that line the kidney filters. Vitamin B6 is important for the prevention of a specific type of kidney stone and also for combating anemia, which is a very common complication in kidney disease because damaged kidneys produce less of a hormone called erythropoietin, which stimulates red blood cell production. The fifth reason is fascinating and represents one of the most recent discoveries in nephrology: the gut-kidney axis. There is a direct, bidirectional communication between the gut and the kidneys. A healthy gut with beneficial bacteria in balance actively helps the kidneys. Why? Because when harmful bacteria dominate the gut, they produce toxins called uremic toxins that travel through the bloodstream to the kidneys and force those organs to work significantly harder to eliminate them. Red bell pepper contains fiber that feeds the beneficial bacteria in the gut, creating a balance that directly benefits your kidneys. It is teamwork happening inside your own body. I want to tell you about one of my patients. I'll call him Walter. He was 72 years old, retired, a former postal worker from Cleveland, Ohio. A man of few words, but enormous determination. He came to my office with a creatinine of 2.8, uncontrolled high blood pressure, and a medication list he admitted he didn't fully understand. "Doctor, my wife is scared. My son looked it up online and told me I'm going to need dialysis." He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the floor. I pulled my chair closer, looked at him and said, "Walter, you have not reached the end yet. We have a great deal we can do." One of the first changes we made was in his diet. We moved away from ultra-processed foods, from daily deli meats, from excessive sodium, and we included red bell pepper as part of his routine, alongside other changes guided by a renal dietitian. 6 months later, Walter's creatinine had stabilized at 2.4. Not a perfect number, but the progression had slowed significantly. He came back to the office with his wife at his side. She told me he was sleeping better, that the swelling in his ankles had gone down, that he seemed more like himself again. That is what preventive medicine does. It doesn't just care for the patient, it cares for the entire family. Now let's talk about how to use red bell pepper intelligently in your daily routine. Because knowing that bell pepper is beneficial is one thing. Knowing exactly how to prepare it, how much to eat, and what precautions to take to use it correctly is something entirely different. The first method is raw, and this is the best way to preserve vitamin C, which is sensitive to heat. Slice into strips and store in the refrigerator in a sealed container. It stays crisp, mildly sweet, and fresh. Use it instead of chips or crackers as an afternoon snack. Toss it into a salad with leafy greens, cucumber, and a drizzle of olive oil and lemon. Use it as a vessel to fill with water-packed tuna, shredded chicken seasoned with herbs, or low-sodium cottage cheese. Simple, delicious, and extraordinarily nutritious for the kidneys. The second method is lightly cooked, and here too there is an important advantage. A gentle cook, such as a quick sauté or a brief oven roast, breaks the cell walls of the vegetable, making the carotenoids, capsanthin and beta-carotene easier for the body to absorb. Slice into strips and sauté quickly in a pan with a small amount of olive oil, onion, garlic and zucchini. It makes a wonderful side dish for grilled fish or chicken breast. Or roast the whole pepper in the oven until the skin darkens slightly. Place it in a sealed plastic bag for a few minutes. The skin slips off easily. Season with minced garlic and olive oil. This roasted pepper can be used in an omelette, mixed with scrambled eggs, or as an accompaniment to almost any meal. Regarding quantity, the recommendation is moderate and consistent. 1/2 to 1 cup per day, which is equivalent to half a large pepper or 1 small whole pepper. You don't need to eat bell pepper at every meal. Incorporate it into one of your daily meals, and you will already be receiving the benefits without overdoing it. And here is a technique I share with all my patients who need to manage potassium in other vegetables like potatoes, carrots and spinach. It is called the double boil method. Peel and cut the vegetable into small pieces. Place in a large pot with plenty of cold water. Bring to a boil and cook for 10 minutes. Drain the water, which is now full of the potassium released by the vegetable, and discard it. Add fresh cold water and continue cooking normally. This process can reduce the potassium content of a vegetable by up to 70%. But note, this is for people with a potassium restriction specifically indicated by their physician. Always consult your specialist before making any dietary changes. And the most important warning of all, eating red bell pepper every day means nothing if you are covering your food in salt. Sodium is the #1 enemy of compromised kidneys. It forces the kidneys to work harder, raises blood pressure, and causes fluid retention. Learn to use herbs and spices for flavor. Garlic, onion, parsley, cilantro, lemon, black pepper, turmeric. Nature gave us an entire pantry of flavors without a single grain of added salt. Use that pantry. I need to be completely honest with you about the limitations and precautions. Red bell pepper is an excellent tool in the early and moderate stages of chronic kidney disease, stages 1, 2, 3, and early stage 4. But if you are in the advanced stage, late stage 4 or stage 5, or if you are already on dialysis, your diet is a critical and highly specific part of your medical treatment. It must be designed with precision by your physician and a renal dietitian. Do not make changes without first speaking with your healthcare team. Regarding medications, many patients with high blood pressure take ACE inhibitors, the ones ending in pril, like lisinopril or enalapril, or angiotensin receptor blockers, the ones ending in sartan, like losartan. These medications are excellent for protecting the kidneys, but can cause the body to retain more potassium. So any significant dietary change must be communicated to your doctor. A research study published in 2025, following over 109,000 adults for more than 10 years, found that people with a diet rich in foods containing flavonoids, compounds present in colorful vegetables like red bell pepper, had a 16% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. On the scale of millions of people, that number represents hundreds of thousands of lives preserved. Let me leave you with a practical plan to take from here. Starting today, begin including red bell pepper in at least one meal daily, a serving of half to 1 cup. Raw as a snack, sautéed as a side dish, roasted as an egg topping, tossed into salads. At the same time, progressively reduce sodium in your diet. Replace deli meats, salty snacks, and ultra-processed foods. Eat more fish and skinless poultry prepared without heavy seasoning. Include other low-potassium vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, and cucumber. Monitor your blood pressure regularly. If you have diabetes, manage your blood sugar every day. High blood pressure and diabetes are the 2 leading causes of kidney disease in the United States. And never stop a medication on your own. Always speak with your doctor before any change. Make sure your routine labs include not just creatinine, but also BUN, uric acid, urine albumin, and estimated glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR. Your eGFR tells you the actual percentage of kidney function remaining, and is the most important single number for tracking kidney health over time. I want to leave you with a thought I have carried with me for many years in medicine. Your kidneys work without rest for you. While you sleep, while you laugh, while you play with your grandchildren, while you watch a sunset, your kidneys are filtering, cleaning, balancing. They never ask for a day off. They deserve that you, at least once a day, choose something that helps them instead of burdening them. Red bell pepper is one of those choices. Simple, colorful, accessible, and scientifically supported. Health is not purchased at a pharmacy. It is built plate by plate, choice by choice, day by day. Tell me in the comments, did you know about the benefits of red bell pepper for kidney health before today? Write bell pepper in the comments if this was new information for you. I want to know how many people are receiving this for the first time right now. If this video brought you something useful, something hopeful, information you didn't have before, please share it with someone you love. A parent, a friend, worried about their labs, someone who might need this today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now and turn on notifications. Every week, content like this, about what your body truly needs, explained the way it always should have been. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.